The opening of the legal year is a great occasion. It's a celebration of the rule of law. Ever since Magna Carta, over 800 years ago, the rule of law has been the cornerstone of our Constitution. And our independent, impartial judiciary is renowned throughout the world. One of the key components of the rule of law is openness and transparency. I've spent a lifetime working in criminal justice. Firstly, as a barrister, a part-time judge, and then in politics, as Solicitor General, Prisons Minister, and now in Cabinet. As a sentencing judge, I've had to make some hard choices. Sending people to prison is never easy, but often it is absolutely necessary. But time and again, over many decades, I have talked to victims of crime who feel let down by the system. Victims who just don't see that openness and transparency. Victims who experience a system that sees rapists getting sentenced to 9 years in prison, but later automatically released after just half that time. Now, don't get me wrong, some form of earlier release has its place in our criminal justice system. It can be used to incentivise good behaviour. But this is not the system we have, Conference. There used to be a tougher system, but in 2005, Labour replaced it with automatic release at the halfway point. It didn't matter to Labour if prisoners pose a risk to the public. It didn't matter to Labour if prisoners misbehaved in prison. And it didn't matter to Labour if criminals didn't show remorse. This is madness. But the Conservatives are going to fix it. We're going to restore faith in the sentencing system because we Conservatives believe that release should be earned. Now, we have, of course, made great strides in criminal justice in the past 9 years of Conservative government, but there is more to be done. And that's why, for the most serious violent and sexual offenders, I'm announcing that this Conservative government will abolish automatic early release at the halfway point. These criminals will be required to serve 2/3 of their sentence behind bars, because keeping the most serious and dangerous violent and sexual offenders in prison for longer means that they won't be out on the streets with the opportunity to commit crime. We owe it to the victims to make this change. And just as it is right that criminals face proper punishment, it is also right that we do our very best to support them to go straight. We need to be tough, but we also need to be humane. Punishment and rehabilitation are not opposites. We have to do both. Now, Conservatives believe in offering a second chance to those who are ready to change, because prisons simply cannot be giant academies of crime. So, we will do more to improve rehabilitation in prison and support our probation services in their vital work to supervise and resettle former prisoners. And we will ask employers to play their part too. Conference, only the Conservatives can be trusted on law and order. Now, you may not have heard of Jeremy Corbyn's Shadow Justice Secretary, Richard Bergen, and you can be forgiven for that. He's not known for his brilliant ideas about criminal justice. Rather, he's better known for saying Zionism is the enemy of peace. And then he denied using these vile anti-Semitic words. But then video emerged. And then he admitted he actually did say it. Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell were two of only 3 MPs to vote against sending people caught carrying a knife to a second term of imprisonment. The fact is, Jeremy Corbyn's Labour is loose with the truth, soft on prisoners and weak on sentencing, soft on crime and soft on the causes of crime. We cannot let that happen. We must keep the public safe. And that's why, with one of his very first acts, our Prime Minister announced that we will recruit 20,000 new police officers. More bobbies on the beat means more arrests, more victims getting justice, and an investment of £2.5 billion to deliver 10,000 new prison places. More and better prisons to support our brilliant prison officers, the unsung heroes who, day in and day out, face huge risks in their workplace. And to help them, we've announced £100 million for new security measures, such as the scanners at Her Majesty's Prison Leeds, checking people as they go in and out of our prisons. These scanners show us the ways drugs are smuggled in can often be creative. When we visited HMP Leeds, the Prime Minister wondered what exactly the small plastic container coming up on the body scanner was. I think we all had something of a Kinder surprise. The PM then wondered about how the small capsule had got to where it was. Now, there's always that moment with a new boss when you're not quite sure what you can and can't say. I did think about explaining, but I knew in my gut that it was a bad idea, much as the prisoner did. But more seriously, conference, prison is a hugely important tool to tackle crime, but it is not the only one. We must make use of smart technologies to prevent offenders from becoming re-offenders, because prison only works if it reduces re-offending. And we want former prisoners to be fully productive members of society, but they must abide by the law at all times when they're back on our streets. Many criminals who carry out antisocial behaviour have problems with alcohol. Get a grip on this and we can massively reduce crime. When he was Mayor of London, the Prime Minister piloted putting sobriety tags on offenders. If criminals drink alcohol, they are instantly detected, brought in front of a judge, and may be sent to prison. The pilot was a huge success, with over 90% compliance. So, we're going to take that idea and establish it nationally. I'm pleased to announce, conference, that from next year, sobriety tags will be used across the country to monitor criminals and to reduce re-offending. Conference, in London today, I've been taking part in a ceremony that is almost as ancient as our criminal justice system itself. I know we must restore public faith in sentencing. We must be clear. Only criminals who earn their liberty should have it. We must keep Britain safe for everyone who lives here. Thank you.